on behalf of the state.
Joe Cullen on behalf of the state.
Carolyn Ross for the state.
Dan Weiler for the state.
Defense.
Good morning, Dan Herbert, on behalf of Jason Van Dyke.
Melissa Cumming on behalf of the state.
Here's what I'm looking for, is that we've had, Defense, you've had this truck driver witness. He has not appeared on the times he's supposed to. Where's he at today?
I think he may be.
I don't care what you think, really. He should be here. For God's sake, I told you I'm going to strike the animation if he doesn't show up and testify. All right?
Doing everything we can.
Did anybody go to pick him up?
Yes.
What time?
Early. I don't know.
Early. Show me where early is on my watch. All right?
7:30.
Yeah, 7.
But I think he might be here. Randy Woodward's downstairs.
Don't Randy communicate with you?
We communicated with Liz, but it's kind of unclear whether that meant he was here or not. Liz thinks it meant that he's here.
I can call.
Thank you. All right. Let's, we have a case management conference about the schedule. Thank you. All right, Liz, could you call Randy down, please?
I would say male,
There was a request that you had made.
Yes, Your Honor, I would be asking for an offer on the defense witness, Yolanda Harris. Yolanda Sayer. I say what? Harris Sayer. I say Y-R.
All right. Mr. Herbert.
Judge, briefly begin, I object to these officer proof, the timing of them, because these witnesses have been listed for months now. And as you know, when the state told witnesses on the morning of, we didn't have them for officer proof. So I think that the timing of it is quite frankly ill-timed. But
I agree, but it's still not legally binding on them not to be able to make that offer of proof.
Sure. Yolanda Sayer Harris is an instructor at the training academy. The state knows all this. She is an instructor in the law division for the Chicago Police Training Division. She is going to testify to what she teaches the recruits with respect to peace officer use of force statute. It's in her lesson plan. We received the lesson plans from the state in this case.
Thank you. Mr. Wiley.
Your Honor, to make that evidence even arguably relevant, they would have to establish that she has personal knowledge that what she is going to testify to was taught to Jason Van Dyke. Our understanding is that they have these lesson plans, but the teachers teach their own curriculum, and there's different teachers that teach different officers. So I don't think she has personal knowledge about what was specifically taught to Jason Van Dyke. Additionally, Judge, the whole purpose of this is to usurp your role, which is to instruct the jury on what the law is. The jury will be correctly instructed on what the law is, and so this has very little or no probative value, and it does usurp the role of jury instructions and Your Honor's role in the trial. And so we would ask that this testimony be made.
Is there a nexus or basis that Mr. Van Dyke was in one of her classes?
Yes, from Mr. Van Dyke told me that he was taught by Ms. Harris. Ms. Harris does not know Jason Van Dyke. I asked her, I said, do you know that you taught Jason Van Dyke? And she goes, no, I would never know that. But she goes, I taught at the training academy during the time period in which Jason Van Dyke was a recruit. I taught law during that time period. And she said that I think there was only 2 law instructors. So she said it would be virtually impossible for her not to have at least taught Jason Van Dyke.
The only thing is the state did bring up a point. She's not going to talk about the law in the state of Illinois. Because I'm the only one that will instruct on the law. That's my requirements and my duty. No.
She is not going to interpret the law in any way, shape, or form. She is going to talk about how they are trained on the law. Specifically, this peace officer use of force statute. Specifically, there is like an interactive worksheet that she conducts with her recruits regarding this law. And all it does is break down the law, but she's not giving any opinions on what this law means or what this word implies. She's simply providing how she breaks down the law to her recruits.
Now, who supervises her work to make sure that she's doing the bidding of the Chicago Police Department as far as her instructions? Is there somebody that coordinates between the different instructors over there?
I think the law unit, and Judge, that's speaking from personal knowledge, I taught there before I became a lawyer, but it's my...
You taught the law before you became a lawyer? Okay.
I was in law school. So. But I don't believe there is a supervisor of that unit. If there is, it might be the other law instructor.
Mr. Weiler, anything else?
Only Judge would point out that it sounds exactly like she's going to interpret this law and give her interpretation on it. So we would again argue that that's improper.
And as the defense has been brought out, she had come here objecting to her being videoed and audio pursuant to the extended media coverage. And at that time, you certainly were aware of her, and you didn't make any motions in limine at that time. At this time, I will allow her to testify, subject to a motion to strike. All right, so she will be allowed to testify. All right. All right, call the jury out, please. Sit down, please. All right, you've been here, I've been here since 7 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's approached me yet. Sit down and I'll direct the order of which people are going to testify in this courtroom.
All rise for the jury.
I'm sorry. Yes, we are late. Thank you. Thank you for your concern. All right, get out of the way. Come on, get out of the doorway. The jury's coming through. Nobody yet, but let's not confuse anything. You're responsible for that. This order. Thank you. Will everybody please be seated? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Thank you. All right, we're going to go through the drill again. Everybody's aware of the questions I'm going to ask. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. Juror number 251.
No and no.
Juror number 252.
No and no.
Juror number 253.
No and no.
We have 253s.
I'm sorry. I'm mistaken.
All right. Juror number 254.
No and no.
Juror number 255.
No and no.
Juror number 256.
No and no.
Juror number 240.
No and no.
Juror number 241. Hello, juror number 241.
No and no.
Thank you. Juror, you guys are tricking me now. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Juror number 242.
No and no.
Juror number 243.
No and no.
Juror number 244.
No and no.
Juror number 245.
No and no.
Juror number 246. Juror number 247.
No and no.
Juror number 248.
No and no.
Juror number 249.
No and no.
Juror number 250.
No, no.
Thank you very much. Again, you were outstanding yesterday, and I expect you to be outstanding today and live up to the level of performance that you have been demonstrating during this trial. So thank you again. All right, defense, call your first witness of the day.
We'll call Ms. Velez.
Yeah.
Watch your step, remain standing, face the clerk.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this honorable court and jury shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you.
Have a seat, please. The chair is adjustable. The microphone is live, so pull your chair up to the microphone. Speak into the microphone. Everybody will be able to hear your testimony, and it would be greatly appreciated. So thank you. All right, proceed, defense.
Thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Would you please introduce yourself and spell your last name?
Good morning. I'm Officer Velez. It's V-E-L-E-Z.
And officer, by whom are you employed?
The City of Chicago. I'm with the Police Department.
And how long have you been a Chicago police officer?
Well, I started in January of 2000.
Could I have the attorneys over here for a second, please? Just, Mr. Herbert. Thank you very much, Mr. Herbert. Will you proceed, please?
Sure. I'm not sure where I left off, but you've been a Chicago police officer since, I believe you said January 2000.
Yes, sir.
And where do you currently work?
I work in the 8th District.
Okay, in the 8th District, generally southwest side of the city of Chicago.
That's correct.
And I want to direct your attention to 2014, October 20th, 2014. Where were you working on that date, time, and location?
I was working beat 822.
Okay, and so you were in the 8th District, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what shift were you working that day?
It's on the 3rd watch.
And the 3rd watch, what are the hours generally?
Generally, the hours are 15:30 to 00:30 hours.
Okay, and I want to direct your attention, you had the occasion to respond to the scene of the shooting that occurred between Jason Van Dyke and Laquan McDonald.
Yes.
And how is it that that you were assigned to that job? That's a poor question, if I can withdraw that, Judge. How is it that you responded to that job?
We heard the call over the radio. It sounded like officers were in distress, and we decided to go to the job.
And you were not assigned the job by the dispatcher, correct?
We were not.
Okay, and you said that despite that, because it sounded like officers were in distress, you decided to go to the scene?
Yes, sir.
And is that a normal procedure for these types of calls?
Yes, it is.
Normal for officers that are somewhat close to respond when officers are in distress?
If you're in close proximity, it's great. If you're not, either way, you're still going to go and back another officer up.
Okay.
We went. It's kind of hesitation in the vehicle, but we decided to go.
Okay. And you went there, lights and sirens?
Correct.
Okay. And this was a hot call. You know what I mean by a hot call?
Yes, I do.
How would you describe that?
The hot call can be either a 10-1 or, like I said, officers calling for somebody who has possibly a taser or, something that can help them out with the situation.
Okay. And you nor your partner had tasers that night, is that correct?
That's correct. We did not.
Okay. And is that because they weren't available?
They were not available. For me, I was not certified.
Okay. Tell us what happened when you arrived on the scene.
We arrived on the scene. We were actually on Pulaski. We had been headed north. As we got close to where the call was, we saw an individual that was running towards our direction.
Okay.
So they were going southbound. We're heading north on Pulaski.
I'm sorry. And you said that you saw an individual that was running towards your direction. As you sit here today, do you know who that individual was?
Yes, I do know that now, yes.
And who was that?
That was Laquan McDonald.
Okay. And you didn't know Laquan McDonald that evening?
No, sir.
Okay. And did you make any observations or strike that? When you first saw Laquan McDonald, where were you in relation to him?
When we first saw Laquan McDonald, I was a passenger in the vehicle.
Okay, but how far were you from Laquan McDonald at that point, approximately?
Well, he actually got very close to us. He passed our vehicle. So he was on the side of the driver's side of our vehicle.
Okay. When you first saw Laquan McDonald, is it fair to say that he was in front of your vehicle?
Yes.
And
I'm sorry, establish the geographical location so it's clear for the jury.
okay. And Where were you at when you first saw LaQuan McDonald?
You know, I don't know the address.
Would it be in between 40th and 41st Street on Pulaski?
Yes,
Okay. And did you make any observations of LaQuan McDonald when you saw him?
yes. We had our lights. He did not look at us. He did not look towards our direction. He just kept looking straight ahead.
Could you characterize anything about the way he was acting?
He looked deranged.
And when you say he looked deranged, what do you mean by he looked deranged?
The fact that we had lights, we had sirens, he was not looking in our direction. There was nothing that was actually phasing him, not even the visibility of officers in the area, the number of officers that were there. He was just like in a twilight.
Okay. Did you make any observations about any weapons that he may have had?
I had believed he was holding aside that he may have possibly had a weapon. I did notice the shiny object in his hand, which ended up being a knife.
When you saw that shiny object in his hand, did you know it was a knife?
Not at first.
Okay. At some point, did you later conclude that it was a knife?
Yes, I did.
And when was that? After you first saw it? Would it have been when he got closer to you?
I'm sorry, quit leading right now.
Okay.
When we had passed him up, my partner was actually, he's driving, so he's trying to stay focused and see what's going on, you know, paying attention to his surroundings while I'm trying to say, it looks like he has a gun, just be careful, he's holding his side. It's possible, just the fact that he was not responding to anything or any reaction seeing us. I had believed that he had something on him.
Okay. And when you say holding his side, do you remember which hand he was holding his side with?
It was his left side.
Okay.
He was holding his side,
And
his left hand.
the side, I can't see where you're pointing to. Is that the waistband area?
Officer, let's stand up, please.
Sure, it's the hip area, the side area. When you go up your pants, this is where he was holding his side.
And what about an individual holding their side like that? Why did you believe that that may be indicative of somebody having a gun?
Should I remain standing
No,
or?
you just relax, just sit down. That's
Okay. Anytime we hear a call of somebody holding their side, it's an indication that they usually carry a weapon.
And what type of weapon do they normally carry when you see somebody holding their side?
I'll allow you wide latitude on cross-examination. Go ahead, overrule.
You remember the question?
I can answer.
Sure.
Yes, it could be a 9mm, it could be a handheld gun. It could be a snub nose, it could be anything. It'd be anything that they can put on the side of their either underwear or have a clip or something to hold the gun.
Okay, you mentioned 3 weapons. Those are all guns, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I can show the clip, it is state 46. It's a clip of the video. If I can just show this to you, publish it to the jury judge, and then I'll ask you a question about it after. Looks like the connection might be loose.
Is the mic here? Michael, Mr. McCormick, could you help us out a little bit? Mr. McCormick is our chief technical advisor for the chief judge of Cook County. Excuse me, Michael Carroll. I apologize. Thank you, Chief. Yes. Jim, bring the screen out. We don't have it on the big display right now, Mr. Carroll.
Judge, on her laptop, it's not displaying properly. It's not the Nomad system, it's the laptop side.
On.
Okay, I think we're ready, Judge.
All right. Yeah, proceed then, please.
We can go back, please. If I can, while we're waiting for the video. Officer Velez, you've seen this video before, isn't that correct? Not the one that's currently displaying, but the video of the shooting.
All right, then, excuse me, then what's the purpose of this video being shown right now?
I'm not sure.
Well, then, come on, you're in charge. All right, there'll be a short recess, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay. Yes, please.
All rise for the jury.
jury.
All right, will everybody please be seated? Have a seat. All right. Proceed, Mr. Hurst.
Officer Velez, I'm going to show you this video. Please watch it. And I'm going to ask you when your vehicle comes into the picture. Is this your vehicle right here?
Yes, it is.
And that's the vehicle that's being approached by LaQuan McDonald?
Yes.
Officer Velez, does that video accurately, let's strike that.
It's in evidence. Go ahead.
The video shows that LaQuan McDonald gets, it appears that he's fairly close to the vehicle.
Objection, making objection.
Sustain and identify which vehicle. There's two in the video at this time.
Do you know how far LaQuan McDonald was from your vehicle at the closest point?
The closest point would perhaps been maybe 3 feet from our vehicle.
In that video, that video doesn't show what you were seeing that night, correct?
Objection, Judge.
Sustain. Ask her what she was seeing, not what it doesn't show.
Okay. The video, was that the same perspective that you had that evening?
It doesn't show his face, doesn't show the look in his eye.
Okay. And is that because it's from a different perspective than where you were at?
Correct.
Okay. And we saw in the video him holding his hip, Mr. McDonald. Is that what you were referring to earlier when you said that you saw Mr. McDonald holding his hip?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then I saw your vehicle pulled forward at a point in which it appeared that LaQuan McDonald was walking by the vehicle. Why is it that you pulled forward, or your partner did?
We pulled forward because my partner didn't feel that he had enough distance.
I'll allow you wide latitude on cross-examination. This is a team working together. You can cross-examine on this. Go ahead, Dawes.
I can answer. Okay. My partner didn't have enough distance should we both exit the vehicle.
Okay. And at the point in which your vehicle pulled away, was it just Jason Van Dyke and Joe Walsh in front of Mr. McDonald at that point?
I do not know because we ended up making our U-turn.
Okay. But you didn't know of any other officers that were out of the vehicle directly in the path of Mr. McDonald other than Walsh and Van Dyke, is that correct?
Not at that time, I did not.
I have nothing else, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gleason, cross-examination.
Thank you. Now, ma'am, that night when you heard the call for assistance, you didn't even want to go, did you?
Correct.
You and your partner had an argument because you wanted to go have dinner, right?
Yes.
So when you said on cross that both, or on direct, that both of you made the decision to go, that's not correct, is
We
it?
grudgingly made the decision to go.
Well, do you recall testifying on July 8, 2015 in another proceeding where you were under oath?
Possibly I'd have to see it.
Well, do you recall being asked this question and giving this answer? Question, page 10. Question. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm confused. So the call came out that evening, October 20th of 2014 for assistance, taser, offender with a knife. Did your partner not want to go or did he want to go? Answer, he wanted to go. Question, and did you want to go? Answer, I did not want to go. Remember that?
Yes.
That's not the issue.
Then what are you objecting for? Overruled.
So in fact, you and Mr. Herbert asked you about a hot call, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this was such a hot call that you had an argument whether or not you could go have dinner or go to somebody's date, right?
It's not an argument, it's a discussion. You need both of your partners to agree to go to a call. It was close to the end of our tour.
And so you wanted to go have your dinner and just be done for the night, right?
I wanted to have my dinner, yes, but I knew that this was gonna end up being, it sounded very serious.
It sounded so serious, but you want to go have dinner, right?
I didn't have a tool to provide. I did not have a taser, neither did my partner.
Right. So
So that's
really-
correct, yes.
Okay. And so when you got there that night, you didn't expect to see Laquan in the middle of the street, correct?
Correct, caught us off guard.
Right. And so when it caught you off guard, you see him walking in the street and then you guys do a U-turn, correct?
I don't understand your question.
You and your partner make a U-turn, right? So you can be facing the same direction that Laquan was walking?
Yeah, because I initially wanted to exit the vehicle and my
And-
partner didn't feel safe.
Your partner didn't feel safe,
He didn't feel safe for me to exit the vehicle without him. Yes.
so you made a U-turn,
He
right?
made a U-turn so that he would have distance between himself and Laquan. Yes.
And then you both got out of the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And when you both got out of the vehicle, you went to the front of your vehicle, correct?
The nose of the vehicle, yes.
You never, at that point, were concerned at all that he had a gun, right?
I did believe he had a gun, and when we were making our U-turn, they were already firing shots.
And you believed he had a gun, but your partner said, no, Letty, it's a knife. Isn't that correct?
Possibly, yeah.
And so when you got out of the car, went to the front of your car, you never thought he had a gun, right?
No, I still believed he had a gun. It's possible he wasn't able to pull the gun out when the shots were being fired. So we found out later he did not have a gun, ma'am, but I did believe he had one.
You believed, okay. And so even though you believe he has a gun, you go to the very front of your car without any kind of barrier between you and the Laquan McDonald, correct?
The shots were already being fired. He was already on the ground,
He
so.
was already on the ground? Did you see him standing up as he was being shot?
I saw him as he made the turn.
So when you say he made the turn, you mean when Laquan
The
is spinning?
twist, yes,
Right. So at that point, your car is already turned around, right?
yes,
And so you and your partner are facing him, correct?
when he was already dropping to the ground,
Right.
okay?
So he's standing up, you can see him being shot, right?
Yes,
And are you out of your car at that point?
it's possible we were.
Okay,
I was the passenger. I'm able to make a 360 turn around and try to see what's going on.
okay. And which side of Officer Mondragon's car did you park on?
That I don't remember.
Okay, so that video was being taken from Officer Mondragon's car, correct?
Yes,
And they're right next to you?
she could have been in front of us,
Okay.
next to us.
And is she on, you don't remember which side you pulled on
From her,
from her, right?
we're probably on the driver's side.
Okay. So when you say the driver's side, is your door closest to her driver's side door?
That I do not know. I can't answer that. That I don't know.
As I told Mr. Herbert, go to geographical,
Right. So
descriptions.
are you in, well, strike that. So when you do your U-turn and you get out of your car and Laquan is spinning, You're there, is that correct?
Yeah, he drops to the ground.
And Officer Becerra is there, correct?
Yeah.
Officer Mondragon is there, correct?
At the moment, I don't know who was there because my focus was on Laquan, ma'am.
Okay, but you know now, right? They were right next to you?
Yeah, I know now that those officers were present.
So Officer Mondragon was right next to you?
You'd have to ask her.
Did you see her there?
I saw Mondragon there, yes.
Did you see Daphne Sebastian there?
I don't remember seeing Daphne.
Well, that's Mondragon's partner, right?
Okay, yes.
And they
So
were,
then that means, yes, she was there. If her
And-
partner was there.
did you see Dora Fontaine?
I did not.
You never saw her that night.
No.
Did you see the squad that's right behind Van Dyke's vehicle?
Yes, I know that now that was her vehicle.
Okay, so they were right there at the same time you were there, right?
I don't know. If my focus is on Laquan, do you think I'm timing it and saying, hey, she's here? I do not know, ma'am.
Okay. And so when you get out of your vehicle and go to the front of your vehicle, do you pull your gun out?
Probably had my gun unsnapped because initially, if I believed he had a gun, I'm gonna take my gun out or have it unholstered, have it unsnapped. So it was unsnapped. I had my holster snapped back again when I realized he was already on the ground.
Okay, so you never took your gun out?
Like I said, I don't know if I did or not. If I believed he initially had a gun, we usually can take it out and then we can holster it back.
So you don't know,
So if I was in the vehicle, I probably did.
but you don't know as you sit here today?
I do not.
Okay,
You're asking me something that transpired 4 years ago, ma'am.
so your memory's fuzzy about what happened 4 years ago?
About me taking out my gun, about me maybe wiping my nose, yes.
Okay, didn't
That's
ask you
correct.
about wiping your nose, I asked you about your gun.
So yes,
It's
about
fine.
that, yes, you're asking me, did I take it out? Was I standing there with it? I don't know. It's muscle memory. If there's somebody with the gun, you're gonna take out your gun.
But he never
Now
had
you're
a
gonna
gun.
put it back.
He never had a gun, right? He only had a knife.
We realized later, he did not. That's correct.
When was it that you realized he only had a knife?
After everything was done,
What do you mean, everything was done?
this
What-
whole investigation.
Oh, and so not until after the entire investigation, right?
When he was down on the ground, I asked, did he have a gun? Did he have a gun? They said, no, he didn't have one.
Who
Okay,
told-
so at the scene, it was confirmed that he did not have a gun.
And
Okay.
who'd you ask if he had a gun?
I do not recall that.
Okay, what's the first thing you do after the shooting stops?
What's the first thing I do after a shooting stops?
Not a shooting, this shooting. Is that what was?
This specific shooting, tried getting on the phone, get on the radio. We asked for an ambulance. We asked for supervisors,
Okay, let's try. You tried to get on the phone. Who did you try to call?
tried calling FOP,
Who's FOP?
the Fraternal Order of Police.
And what's the Fraternal Order of Police do?
That's our union. We have an officer that was involved in a shooting. Julie tried to get the FOP there.
Okay, so before you tried, did you ever try to call for an ambulance that night?
I don't know if I did. If I heard people calling, I'm not gonna be redundant and do it myself.
So the first thought in your mind was to call the union, right?
My first call or first thing you're thinking of, you're looking around. You're like, okay, did they call an ambulance? Okay, do we have tape? Okay, is the scene secure? There's a lot of stuff you're doing. If you see other officers handling it, then you're gonna move on to the next thing that needs to be done to safeguard the crime scene.
And so
Or call for the ambulance, call for FOP, call for a supervisor.
but that's not what you did. The first thing you
I don't
did-
know what I did.
You don't?
Like I said, looking around, you're seeing what's happening, okay? We had to move the vehicle out of the way. There's traffic.
Ma'am,
My
can
partner
you
was
wait
the
until I ask a
vehicle.
question, please?
Sure.
Thank you. And do you remember, again, testifying on July 8th, 2015, and you were asked this question and given this answer, page 27? After the shots were fired, you saw Officer Walsh kick the knife. Answer, yes. Question, and what did you do then? Answer, I holstered my weapon. I tried calling FOP.
Okay, there's.
To
the
let
answer.
them know, call the district to let them know there's been a shooting.
I'm gonna object again, Judge, just so you know.
But she said she didn't recall whether a weapon was in or out. So there's certainly, that is the foundation to perfect the impeachment. Overruled.
And did you see Officer Walsh do anything else that night?
Would after the shooting or during the shooting? What-
Right after he kicks the knife. Do you see him do anything?
I don't remember.
Let me ask you another question first. When you thought he might have a knife, did you ever get on the radio or strike that? When you thought he might have a gun, did you ever get on the radio and say, hey, he might have a gun?
No, I
Why
did
not?
not. I was in shock.
And so you didn't think you needed to let Officer Van Dyke or any of the other officers know he might have a gun?
At what time would I be able to tell him that?
How about you have a radio as you're sitting in the car making the U-turn? Could you make a call?
No, I did
Why not?
Because everything happened so fast. That's why.
How about when you got out of the
You-
car? Could you have alerted your other officers that maybe that guy had a gun?
No, I didn't.
And why not?
Because it happened so fast.
And so it happened so fast, you can't even get on your radio to say, hey, be careful, right?
Correct. It happened so fast.
And when you got out of the car, you saw the defendant continue to shoot after Laquan fell on the ground, didn't you?
Yes, probably.
Well, not probably. Did you or did you not see Officer Van Dyke continue to shoot after Laquan
Yes.
McDonald hit the ground?
I believe I did, yes.
And then you saw Officer Walsh go up and kick the knife out of his hand, right?
Yes.
And as you recall today, though, you don't recall if you ever strike that, if you ever said anything else about Officer Walsh?
I initially thought when the shooting had happened that it was Walsh that was doing the shooting. I did not know Van Dyke.
No, I'm not asking that. After Officer Walsh kicked the knife out of Van Dyke's or out of Laquan
All right,
McDonald's.
start all over again.
I'm sorry, Judge. After you saw Walsh kick the knife out of Laquan's hand, did you see him do anything else?
I don't remember.
And again, do you remember testifying under oath on July 8th, 2015? Page 47, being asked these questions and giving these answers. Question, it didn't appear that he was concerned about any other weapon. Answer, you brought that up now, and I do recall him patting him, searching him to see if he had any other weapons on him. Question, how long after the shooting did that occur? Answer, immediately after he kicked it, there was no movement, no response, nothing. I guess he felt safe to search him, searched his waistband, searched his pocket, searched, the ankles to see if there's any weapons or anything on him. Do you remember giving those answers?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
And so did you see Officer Walsh do any kind of search?
Okay, so he did the search and it was confirmed then that he did not have a weapon.
Okay, so you watched that videos before today, right?
Oh, yes.
Where do you ever see Officer Walsh do a search in that video?
I didn't see that on the video. I haven't seen that on the video.
Okay, so that's something you saw outside the video immediately after he kicks the knife. Officer Walsh is doing a search.
No,
I'm gonna object to immediately. If I heard her testimony.
Overruled if that's your objection.
You can answer the question.
I'd have to watch the entirety of the video. But if I said that he searched them, then he searched them.
Okay. And I believe, just so we have this clear, your prior testimony was immediately after he kicked it, there was no movement, no response, nothing. I guess he felt safe to search him, search his waistband, search his pockets, search, the ankles to see if there's any weapons or anything on him. So that was immediately after he kicked that knife, right?
It was after he kicked the knife.
And you don't see any of that on the video, do you?
Okay.
No, my question is not an okay answer, a yes or no.
I'm saying he searched him. Okay.
So when you saw Officer Walsh searching him right after he kicks the knife away, did you see Officer Walsh getting covered with blood or anything?
No, I didn't.
And you see anybody else searching besides Officer Walsh?
No, I don't. I don't remember if there were other officers around there.
And so let's talk about that. Right before LaFawn hits the ground, you're there, correct?
Yeah.
Officer Becerra is there, correct?
Yes.
Officer Walsh is there, correct?
We're not standing with them. We weren't even by them. So, yeah, they were present.
Officer Mondragon was there.
Yes.
Daphne Sebastian was there. She's an officer, correct?
Yes.
Dora Fontaine was there.
Okay.
Is that a yes or no?
You're telling me who's there? Those are people that were at the scene. Do I remember seeing them? No, I do not.
Well, you watch the video and they pull up right behind Walsh and Van Dyke, right?
The people that are in the video is Walsh and Van Dyke, and the car that pulls up behind them, that's Dora and her partner.
And that's Rick Viramontes, right?
Viramontes, yeah.
So that's 10 officers, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then I see the other two, Daphne and her partner, that's 8.
What about Walsh and Van Dyke? Did you count them?
I did count them.
Walsh and Van Dyke, you and your partner, right?
Right.
Mondragon and Daphne,
6.
or, right?
Yes.
Viramontes and Dora, right?
Okay. That's
And
8.
then what about Nick Elliott and Gaffney?
They showed up, they were there after us. I don't remember seeing them. That's the thing. We made our U-turn. Our focus was more on McQuine.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Briefly,
Sure, take as much time as you need.
Officer, you were asked questions about all these other officers that were on the scene. Remember those questions that were just asked by the prosecutor?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that right before the shooting, Viramontes, they had not pulled up yet, correct?
Correct.
And all those other officers were behind LaQuan McDonald, correct?
Yes.
They were behind the threat, correct?
Yes.
I'll allow you a wide latitude on cross-examination.
They were behind the guy that flicked his knife open and was holding his hip in a manner that you thought he had a gun, correct?
Yes.
Overruled.
And that person, LaQuan McDonald, was walking in the opposite direction from where you and all those other police officers were, correct?
Yes.
And that person, LaQuan McDonald, with the knife and what you believe was a gun, was walking in the direction of Jason Van Dyke and Joe Walsh at that point, correct?
Yes.
And he was in fact closing the distance on those two individuals, correct?
I couldn't say if he was closing the distance because we ended up making our U-turn.
Okay. And at that point, right before the shooting, all those other officers were behind LaQuan McDonald, correct?
Yes.
And that other vehicle, Viramontes, they hadn't pulled up yet, correct?
Correct.
And Van Dyke and Walsh were out of their vehicle at that point, correct?
Yes.
So clearly they were exposed to this deranged person with the knife that you testified to?
Yes.
Can I allow you wide latitude on re-cross-examination, overruled. The answer will stand.
Fair to say that they were kind of the last line of defense at that point, weren't they?
Overruled, I mean sustained.
Okay. On direct, you were asked about some details that you weren't necessarily sure of. Did you have your gun out? At what point did you pull your gun out? And then Ms. Gleason showed you some transcript testimony that showed that you did have your gun out at that point, right?
Yes.
And you had your gun out because you were dealing with this armed, dangerous criminal, correct?
Objection, Judge.
Sustained as to the characterization. All right,
Okay.
rephrase.
You had your gun out because you thought you might have to use it, right?
That's correct.
And you thought you might have to use it on Juan McDonald, correct?
Yes.
And you thought you had to shoot him because he was a threat, right?
Objection, Judge.
I'll allow you wide latitude on re-cross-examination. The answer, go ahead, you can answer.
Yes.
And prior to arriving to the scene, did you hear the radio traffic that this individual that we now know as Juan McDonald had broken into a truck
I'm
yard?
sorry, no, get over here. I want the attorneys over here right now.
I can
I
withdraw.
need you to. All right, don't do that again. It's
Right.
not in evidence.
I'll withdraw that question. Prior to you arriving on the scene, did you hear over the radio that Juan McDonald had attacked a squad car and popped the tire?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So from the time that you started to arrive, and then the more information that you gained, would you say that your threat level was rising up until the point that you got out of the vehicle?
Objection, Judge.
That is not an issue in this case. Sustained.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Recross.
Thank you. Ma'am, at the time that Officer Van Dyke shot LaQuan McDonald, he was surrounded by police officers, correct?
There was a large perimeter around where LaFont was.
And that large perimeter included all of those officers you already identified on the cross, correct?
Yes.
You pulled your gun out that night?
Yes, I did.
You never shot once, did you?
I did not.
Nothing, Judge.
All right, you can step down, officer.
All right.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a short recess at this time, and then we'll be right back in about 10 minutes. No more than 10 minutes.
All right, for the jury.
Is everybody out of the hallway?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, bring our interpreter out first. No, that's, come on out here. Stand up for everybody. Swear you in. Put the jury on.
All rise for the jury.
All right, will everybody please be seated? Thank you. All right, will our interpreter state her name, please?
Good morning, Judge Terry Mesa, MEZA, Certified Court Interpreter.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to interpret from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you very much. All right, call your witness.
Rudy Rules, please.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this honorable court and jury shall be true, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, thank you.
Have a seat, sir. The microphone is live. The seat is adjustable. So pull your seat up to the microphone. Speak into the microphone so everybody can hear your testimony, and it would be greatly appreciated. So thank you. Proceed.
Could you please tell the jury your name and spell your last name for the court reporter?
Por favor, puede decirle al jurado su nombre y de qué su apellido antes de no perder.
Rudy. R-U-D-I.
Rudy, R-U-D-Y,
Varillas.
Varillas,
P-A-R-I-L-L-A-S.
B-A-R-I-L-L-A-S.
Mr. Barillas, without telling us your address, you live in Chicago?
Señor Varillas, sin darnos su domicilio, ¿vive usted en Chicago?
Sí,
Yes.
And you have a business in Chicago?
¿Tiene usted un negocio en Chicago?
sí.
Yes.
What is your business?
¿Cuál es su negocio?
Transportación.
Transportation.
You're a truck driver, right?
Sí,
Es camionero. Yes.
And calling your attention back to 2014, were you a truck driver then?
Y llamándole la atención al 2014, ¿era camionero entonces?
sí.
Yes.
And are you familiar with the location of 4100 or 41st and Kildare in Chicago?
¿Conoce usted el local de la 41 en la Kildare?
Sí,
Yes.
And how are you familiar with that address?
¿Y cómo es que conoce usted ese domicilio?
parqueábamos trocas ahí.
Because we would park trucks there.
All right. And we say we would park trucks there. You would park your truck there. Is that right?
Y cuando dice estacionábamos trocas ahí, ustedes están estacionados.
Sí,
Yes.
And how big is that location?
¿Y qué tan grande está ese local?
como un bloque y medio más o menos.
About a block and a half, more or less.
And that's where other people park their trucks as well, correct?
Y bueno, otras personas también estacionan sus camiones allí.
Sí,
Yes.
And that lot, is that lot fenced in?
¿Y ese lote está cercado?
sí,
Yes.
Was there a gate that you had to use to to get your truck into the lot?
Había una reja la cual tenía que usar usted para que entrara su camión.
sí,
Yes.
And was that gate always locked?
Y esa reja siempre estaba con llave.
sí.
Yes.
And how would you get your truck into that locked lot?
¿Y ¿cómo es que hacía entrar su camión a esta cerca con llave?
Teníamos un control remoto para entrar.
So you have a remote control to get in.
All right. So you would have to use your remote control to open the gate. Is that correct?
Así es que usted tenía que usar su remote control para poder entrar.
Sí.
Yes.
All right. I want to call your attention to October 20th, 2014.
Le quiero llamar la atención al 20 de octubre del 2014.
Were you parking your truck at that lot in October of 2014?
¿Estaba usted estacionado en su camión en este lote el 20 de octubre del 2014?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Calling your attention specifically to October 20th at about 9:30, 9:45 in the evening. Did you bring your truck to that lot?
Llamando la atención al 20 de octubre, como a las 9:30, 9:45 de la noche, ¿trajo usted su camión a ese lote?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you use that control device to get into the lot?
¿Y usó usted este control para poder entrar al lote?
Sí.
Yes.
So the gate was locked when you got there, correct?
Así es que la reja estaba con llave cuando llegó usted allí.
Sí.
Yes.
All right. You used your opener to get in the gate, correct?
¿Y usó usted el control para poder entrar a la reja?
Sí.
Yes.
Were you able to pull your truck into the lot?
¿Pudo hacer entrar su camión al lote?
Sí.
Yes.
Was anyone with you?
¿Alguien estaba con usted?
Mi esposa.
My wife.
And when you pulled your truck in the lot, did you see anything unusual?
Y cuando hizo entrar usted su camión al lote, ¿vio usted algo raro?
Sí.
Yes.
What did you see?
¿Qué fue lo que vio?
A otra persona dentro de una troca.
Another person inside a truck.
All right. And can you strike that? So you saw a person inside the truck, correct?
¿Vio usted una persona dentro de una troca?
Sí.
Yes.
What did you do when you saw that person inside the truck?
¿Qué fue lo que hizo usted cuando vio usted a una persona dentro de esa troca?
Me salí de mi camión y le dije que qué estaba haciendo, que se saliera por favor y no quiso él, bueno, no me entendía o
I got out of my truck and I asked that person to please leave, and he didn't, and either he didn't understand me or he didn't.
When you say you asked him to leave, did you do that in English?
Cuando le pidió que saliera, ¿lo hizo usted en inglés?
Sí.
Yes.
And can you describe the person you said that to?
¿Y puede describir usted la persona a quien usted le dijo eso?
Sí.
Yes.
How would you describe that person?
¿Cómo lo describiría usted?
era de color pues, moreno.
He was a colored black person.
Medía como unos 5 pies y medio.
He was about 5.5 feet.
Y vestía de suera negra.
He was dressed with a black sweater
Con un pantalón de mezclilla.
and like a blue jean pants.
Okay. So you were asking him to leave, is that right?
Usted estaba pidiendo que se fuera.
Sí.
Yes.
And how many times did you ask him that? Tell him that.
¿Y cuántas veces se lo pidió o se lo dijo?
Como 3 veces.
About 3 times.
And after 3 times, what did you do?
Después de 3 veces, ¿qué fue lo que hizo usted?
Yo le dije que él iba a llamar a la policía si no se iba.
I told him I was going to call the police if he didn't leave.
And did you call the police?
¿Y llamó usted a la policía?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Showing you it's been, well, we're going to play what's been marked as offense exhibit number 10 for identification. It's already in evidence, I'm sorry.
It's not in evidence. It depends on his testimony.
Okay. So we're going to play it.
¿Dónde está la?
Do you want me to touch it? Do you want me to touch the screen?
Is it not on?
Present your evidence. Well, not from there.
Because we're playing what we marked as defense number 10.
Judge, we're having an issue with the sound on this.
Mr. Michael Carroll, could you help them out?
I know, but I hear.
Ms. Fleming, step away, let him look at the computer.
Judge, we have about 5 minutes, please.
Certainly you can, but why didn't you do this before? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
All right, for the jury.
Judge Ruth.
Mr. Herbert, come here for a second, please. Mr. McMahon. Bring our wonderful people out first. Thank you, Rick.
All right, for the jury?
Will everybody please be seated? Thank you.
Judge, I'd ask to play
Excuse
defense.
me. I didn't say, we're listening to juror. Pay attention. Mr. Ruger, at this time, will you please proceed?
Yes, Judge, we'd like to play defense number 11, please.
I got halfway in 41 on Tudor. I have, you know, I have a question for trucks. I have a guy right here that is from the radios. You will cut the point. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Barillas, is that you on that tape talking to the police department?
Yes.
And is that you saying, okay, thank you?
Yes.
All right. Judge, I'd ask that this be admitted in evidence.
And any objections?
Your Honor, this particular portion of people's agreement, we have no objection. Basically, the defendant's agreement.
I think it's 11.
All right, let's get this straight. Is
It's
this
10.
Defense number 10.
Yes,
Thank you. There's no objection to this. It will be admitted into evidence.
thank you, Judge. Now, when you were making this phone call, where was the male black that you talked about being in the trucks?
Inside the truck.
All right. Did he eventually come out of the truck?
Eventualmente salió él del camión.
Yo le dije que se fuera, se bajó del camión.
When I told him to leave, he came out of the truck.
Okay. And when he came out of the truck, did he approach you?
Sí.
Yes.
And you had your phone at that time, is that correct?
Usted tenía su teléfono en ese punto, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
That's the phone you made this phone call on, right?
Y ese es el teléfono del cual hizo usted esa llamada.
Sí.
Yes.
Right. And how did he continue to approach you?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the leading question.
Sustained. This is way past preliminary at this time.
Did he continue to approach you?
Objection. Please question.
I'll allow this one question and stop leading. All right, this is at a critical juncture. You shouldn't be testifying.
I'm not. I'm asking if he.
Listen to me. All right, or I'll sustain all of their objections concerning leading questions at this time. All right, you'll allow to ask this one and no more leading after that because it's not preliminary anymore. Go ahead.
Did he continue to advance toward you?
Él siguió acercándose.
Sí.
Yes.
And how close did he get to you?
¿Y qué tan cerca llegó a usted?
Unos 3 pies de distancia.
About a distance of 3 feet.
And what happened when he got to 3 feet from you?
¿Y qué ocurrió cuando llegó a 3 pies?
Me sacó un cuchillo y quería lastimarme.
He pulled out a knife and he wanted to hurt me.
And what did he do with the knife?
¿Qué fue lo que hizo con el cuchillo?
Me acercó y me quiso ver cuidado.
He came towards me and he tried to stab me.
Can you stand up and show the jury what he tried to do?
¿Puede ponerse de pie y mostrar al jurado lo que quiso hacer? With the knife he went like this and then he did this.
All right. And what did you do after when he tried to stab you?
¿Y qué fue lo que hizo usted cuando él intentó apuñalarme?
Le tiré mi teléfono encima.
I threw my phone at him.
And did he do anything after you threw your phone at him?
¿Y él hizo alguna cosa después de que usted le tiró su teléfono?
Se me volvió a ir encima otra vez.
He came back at me.
When you say he came back at you, did he have something in his hand when he came back at you?
Cuando dice que se le tiró de nuevo a usted, traía algo en las manos cuando hizo.
Cuchillo.
A knife, a knife.
And how far was he the second time he tried to come at you with the knife?
¿Y a qué distancia estaba el de usted cuando quiso aventarse de nuevo con el cuchillo?
Unos 3 o 4 pies de distancia.
3 or 4 feet distance.
What did you do, if anything, after you tried to stab you the second time with the knife?
¿Y qué si acaso lo hizo usted la segunda vez que intentó apuñalarme?
Agarré un poco de tierra, de agua y se lo tiré en la cara.
I got a little bit of dirt, some gravel, and threw it at his face.
Now, where was your wife at this time?
¿Dónde se encontraba su esposa en este punto?
Se bajó del camión, estaba dentro del camión y luego se bajó a ayudarme.
She got out of the truck. Well, she was still in the truck, and then she got out of the truck to try to help me.
And was the veil black still there when she tried to call the police?
¿Y el hombre negro todavía estaba ahí cuando ella intentó llamar a la policía?
Sí.
Yes.
Did you see the police coming to that location?
¿Y usted vio cuando venía la policía a ese local?
Sí.
Yes.
And when the police came to that location, what did the male black do?
Y cuando la policía llegó a ese local, ¿qué fue lo que hizo el hombre negro?
Como en la segunda o tercera vez que yo le llamé, lo dijo que yo estaba llamando a la policía y salió corriendo como a los.
About the second or third time I called, he heard I was calling the police, and then he fled.
When you say,
Cuando como en unos 5 o 7 segundos después llegó la policía. Se salió de la yarda.
5 or 6 seconds later, when the police arrived, he had left the yard.
all right. When you say he left the yard, how did he leave the yard?
Cuando dice que se salió de la yarda, ¿cómo es que salió él de la yarda? Walking, running.
All right. And which street did he run onto?
¿Y sobre qué calle corrió él?
41.
41st.
And then the police came, is that right?
Y entonces llegó la policía.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you talk to the police?
¿Habló usted con la policía?
Sí.
Yes.
Did you tell the police what had happened?
¿Le dijo usted a la policía lo que había ocurrido?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you point the police in the direction that the male black had gone?
¿Y señaló usted a la policía la dirección hacia donde había corrido el hombre negro?
Sí.
Yes.
Wait until they see the exhibits. Certainly, go ahead then.
Brillis, I'm going to show you what's been marked as defendants number 11 and 12 for identification. And defendants 11, is that a picture of the fence that was around the truck lot?
El 11 es una fotografía de la cerca que estaba alrededor de donde estaban los niños. Yes.
And number 12, is that also a picture of the fence that goes around the truck lot?
Y la 12 también es una fotografía de la cerca que da que es allá donde están los niños.
Sí.
Yes.
Judge Oliver asked that those be admitted in evidence.
Any objection?
No.
All right, the identification marks will be stricken. Defense number 11 and 12 will be admitted.
Yeah, publish those to the jury.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm sorry, what are you doing?
¿Qué está haciendo?
Are you handing it? No, you don't hand things to the jury. If I'm, when you said, can you show it to the jury? I thought you were gonna publish it. Ma'am, give them do you have this thing back? Thank you very much. Don't ever hand anything to the jury directly.
That's number 12. That's number 11. Mr. Brillis, when the male black approached you, was he saying anything to you?
¿Le decía algo a usted?
No podía hablar, o sea, trabajaba la lengua.
He couldn't talk. He was like tongue tied.
Was he making any noise at all?
¿Hacía ruidos?
Sí,
Yes.
What kind of noise was he making?
una culebra, así.
Like serpents, like
A growling?
Objection.
Mr. Ruckert, if you want to testify, we can swear you in, all right? But don't be putting words in the witness's mouth. Sustain.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brillis. I have nothing further.
Cross-examination, Mr. Cullen.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the noise he was making was like a cat noise?
Como que quería hablar, pero no podía hablar.
It says if he wanted to talk, but he couldn't talk.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Barillas, do you have any police training?
No.
Do you have any military training?
No.
Now, you testified that this truck yard is very large truck yard, is that correct?
Dice usted que esta yarda de camiones es una yarda muy grande.
Sí.
Yes.
So it's about a block and a half long, is that right?
Es como una cuadra y media de largo.
Sí.
Yes.
And on the other side, it's about a block on the other side as well, is correct?
Y es como una cuadra del otro lado también, correcto. Yes.
Now, the defense attorney shows you two pictures of the part of the fence around the truck yard, is that right?
El abogado de la defensa le mostró una fotografía de parte de la cerca de la yarda, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
You ready to approach the witness?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you.
Have you shown those to the defense?
The defense exhibit.
11 and 12? I mean, okay, sure, go ahead.
So these two photos, that's just a very small part of the fence around the truck yard. Is that correct?
Estas dos fotografías solamente son una parte muy pequeña de lo que es la cerca. ¿Correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Now, you didn't inspect the entire length and width of the fence around that truck yard that night, did you?
Ahora, usted no inspeccionó lo largo y lo ancho de todo esa yarda esa noche.
No.
No.
Now, thank you. When you called the police, you said the guy has stolen the radios. Is that what you told the police?
Cuando usted llamó a la policía, usted les dijo, el tipo ha robado los radios, ¿correcto? ¿Es lo que usted les dijo a la policía?
Está robando radios.
He's stealing radios.
He's stealing. And that was an assumption on your part, correct?
Y eso fue una asunción de su parte.
Sí.
Yes.
Because you didn't actually see him stealing the radio,
Porque
did
de
you?
hecho, usted no lo vio robando los radios.
Estaba dentro de la troca.
He was inside the truck.
And when he got out of the truck, he didn't have a radio in his hands, did he?
Y cuando salió de la troca, él no traía un radio en las manos.
No.
No.
Now, you said he waved the knife at you, is that correct?
Usted dice que él le mostró, le movió el cuchillo frente a usted, ¿correcto?
Se me aventó encima de mí con cuchillo.
He came at me with the knife.
And he got within 3 or 4 feet of you, is that right?
Y él llegó como a 3 pies o 4 pies de distancia, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Now, you didn't have a radio with you, did you?
Usted no traía radio con usted, ¿acaso sí?
No.
No.
You didn't have a gun with you, did you?
Usted no traía una pistola con usted.
No.
No.
You didn't have a police SUV squad with you, did you?
Usted no traía camión SUV de patrulla con usted.
No.
No.
You didn't have a police partner with
All
you,
right,
did you?
come on, move on.
When he got within 3 to 4 feet of you, he did not touch the knife to you, did he?
Cuando él llegó a 3 a 4 pies de distancia de usted, él no tocó a usted con la navaja.
Yo me hice para atrás cuando se vino encima de mí. Me hice
I
para
moved
atrás.
back when he lunged at me.
And so you were able to lunge away. He never scratched you with the knife, did he?
Se pudo hacer hacia atrás, nunca lo rasguñó o rasgó con el cuchillo.
No.
No.
You threw a cell phone at him, is that right?
Usted le tiró un celular, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And then you said that you threw some gravel at him, is that correct?
Y entonces dice usted que le tiró grava, piedra, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Now you had to reach down to the ground to pick up the gravel, didn't you?
Ahora usted tuvo que inclinarse al suelo para poder agarrar la grava, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And when you were down reaching for the gravel, he never lunged forward and plunged that knife into you, did he?
Y cuando estaba usted inclinado agarrando la grava, él nunca se le tiró encima.
No, estaba retirado.
No, because he was a distance.
A distance of about 3 feet away, is that right?
Una distancia como de 3 pies de lejos.
Sí.
Yes.
And your wife got out of the truck, is that right?
Y su esposa se salió del camión, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
And you never stabbed your wife, did he?
Y no apuñaló a su esposa.
No.
No.
So you were able to fend off this young man with a cell phone and a handful of rocks, is that right?
Así es que usted pudo hacerse que se quitara de encima a este tipo con un celular y un puño de piedra, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
No further questions.
No tenemos que-
Redirect.
So you were lucky, right?
Así que corrió usted con suerte.
Objection.
I'll allow the
Yes.
answer. Anything else?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Any recross?
But yes, sir.
Sí.
So you were lucky that you were facing a man who didn't really want to stab you, weren't you?
Así es que usted corrió con suerte en que le estaba dando usted en la cara a un hombre que realmente no quería apuñalarlo.
No sé, porque no tenía él. No sé qué intenciones tenía.
I don't know what intentions he might have had.
Hey,
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
You can step down.
Se puede retirar.
All right, call your next witness.
Sergeant William Shield. Sergeant who? William Shield.
What is that remain standing, please, report?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this honorable court and jury shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sergeant, have a seat. The seat is adjustable, as you can see. Pull your chair up to the microphone. The microphone is live. If you speak into the microphone, just a little bit closer, sir. All right. Then everybody will be able to hear your testimony and would be greatly appreciated. So thanks. Proceed, Ms. Wayne.
Thank you, Judge. Morning.
Morning.
Please state your name and spell your name.
My name is William, last name is Shield, Shield.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a sergeant of police for the Chicago Police Department.
How long have you been with the police department?
It's going on 27 years,
How long have you been a sergeant?
22 years.
What have been your areas of assignment in these 27 years?
Throughout my 27 years, I started out in the 21st District Patrol District, the 12th Patrol District, the 9th Patrol District. I was assigned to the Public Housing Section, the Targeted Response Unit, Area South Saturation, and my current assignment is with the Special Functions Division, Detail Section, Homeland Security Team.
Do you know Jason Van Dyke?
I do.
How do you know him?
Officer Van Dyke worked with me in the Targeted Response Unit and also at the Area South Saturation Team.
Are you friends?
I'm sorry?
Are you friends with him?
No, we're co-workers.
I'm going to direct your attention to December 4th of 2012. Were you a sergeant at that time?
I was.
In approximately December 4th through December 8th of 2012, did you receive an officer safety alert?
We did, yes.
And on these particular dates, were you working with Jason Van Dyke?
Yes, I believe I was working with Officer Van Dyke on at least 2 of those dates.
How do you know that?
I checked the A&A sheets to make sure that we were both on the A&A sheets as being working.
Did you work the same shift?
We all worked the same shift at that time.
So did everyone on the same shift go to the same roll call?
Yes, we did.
I'm going to show you what marked as defense number 13 for identification. I'm going to ask you to look at this, please. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is an officer safety alert that was sent out by the Deployment Operations Center.
Does that accurately depict the officer safety alert that you looked at in December of 2012?
Yes, it's not the original, but it is a duplicate of it, yes.
So at this time, I'd ask to enter this as evidence. Published.
Can I have the attorneys over here for a second?